This is PJNET.TV, and this is my perspective and comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And I want to talk about some things that was heard lately over the last couple of weeks regarding COVID. And they're seeing a strain coming from Peru that's called a Lambda variant. And some of the scientists are a little concerned at this point. And I believe that what we're going to hear is more of this from the so-called experts saying, be careful of this variant, and so on. But I believe right now that the science is showing that herd immunity or natural immunity, where without the vaccine, is showing a very positive results when it comes to protecting you against a lot of these other variants. And again, as we've been saying over and over again, these vaccines that are being shoved in people's arms are experimental, and they haven't been, the full blessing from FDA is not there. And when you start hearing the reports over and over again of adverse reactions and people dying of heart conditions and heart issues surrounding just getting surrounding the shots, and there are definitely some concerns regarding the mRNA, these new experimental vaccines. So more to hear about that. Also, there's a National Vaccine Information Center, and they have a study, VAERS, and it records the cases for certain vaccines. And right now they've been documenting COVID related deaths, and what they found was 13 cases where 12 or more or under 18 have had deaths due to these experimental vaccines. So a lot of information is trickling out now when the professionals, the so-called professionals, and more reporting and more emphasis is put on some of the adverse reactions that are being seen throughout the country and throughout the world. So there'll be more to report on that. You know, COVID right now, more and more states are opening up their states, and now there's more and more pressure for the airlines to get the masks. The masks have got to go, and more of our politicians are putting more and more pressure on airlines to drop the mask mandate. So we'll see how that all plays out. But you know, there's definitely more and more of these the liberal states are starting to get their boot off the the people, and more restrictions, and they're rolling back these governors, these executive powers that were added and given to themselves to be able to go into a state of emergency and then mandate all these rules that needed to be followed because these governors had these extra powers to be able to wield the lockdowns and so forth. So we'll see, how much more liberty starts to come back to these various liberal states. We have Donald Trump in the news here, and he held another rally over the 4th of July weekend on Saturday in Saratoga, Florida, and a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, and he was really right on talking about free speech and what's been going on here, especially as President Trump was celebrating the Independence Day weekend, and he mentioned about our founding and what the cancel culture is attempting to do in our nation to wipe out our founding fathers. And President Trump has strongly pushed back against that and said that these various politicians that want to erase our history, they'll have a fight on their hands, and it's time to say no. It's time to bring back civics. It's time to bring back history, our United States history, back into our schools, and to fight to make sure that we don't see critical race theory in our schools. So we saw a message of a former president that was lifting up America, and unlike what we're seeing with many of the Democrat politicians that are all in on this critical race theory, social justice, and America somehow is the problem around the world and in this country, as far as being oppressors in an oppressive nation. And we saw that being played out through the liberal left and disparaging words against our nation, our flag, and standing up for and celebrating our independence. So we heard a lot of that, but President Trump was strong. These rallies really exemplified the people coming together and excited about our country, and quite a contrast from what we've been hearing from the Hate America crowd. And it was good to see fellow Americans getting up and just enjoying each other, enjoying President Trump and the message, and just celebrating the United States. Also, President Trump is back on social media. He's back, not on Twitter, not on Facebook, but there's a new social media platform, GETTR. It was created by President Trump's senior advisor and Josh Miller, and he started and put this platform together, and it debuted, or people started to sign in and join that platform on Saturday. And it's been up and running for the full week, and a lot of the senators and a lot of the media have joined. Many conservatives have joined, and join President Trump on that platform. So we have and this site, this particular platform is dedicated to free speech and not what we're seeing out of Twitter and some of these and Facebook and some of these other platforms that are into the censoring. So President Trump is back on social media, and that will be his voice to get out on the media. And we're also seeing, the President Trump is using Rumble as the video arm too. In fact, these rallies have been that has been the platform to bring the video to America and to the airwaves via Rumble. I'd like to talk a bit about a ruling here a week or two ago. The Supreme Court ruled that Arizona's anti-ballot harvesting bill is illegal. So we're seeing, the Supreme Court weighing in on this, and I'm sure that we're going to see other states, Georgia, mimic and take up this also. And we've seen the states like Georgia being in the news, and a lot of pushback by some of these Democrat left that they want to repeat last year 2020 election, and they know they can do it by stealing votes and all the shenanigans that took place because of COVID, and more and more evidence is being shown that because there was no one chain of custody thrown out the window, so you don't know exactly who actually put a ballot in an envelope and put it in the mailbox. The chain of custody was gone, and a lot of issues like that you don't know who actually voted. And it's not just 2 or 3 or 4, but we're talking about tens of thousands of votes that are in question right now. Enough of a question mark that would put this past election in question. In fact, more and more evidence is coming out that the result should have been different. And again, time has passed, and now a lot of the evidence, a lot of these machines have been set in supposedly storage, and time has gone past. So now we're left with, well, yeah, it sure looks like it. The numbers are showing some issues, some definite issues, that something was not right when you start digging into the actual numbers and how they came in these various question mark states right now. So again, more and more states, Pennsylvania, there's legislation now moving forward for election integrity. We're seeing that still pushing through in Arizona with their audit, and the results of that audit should be coming out later in the fall. Exactly what that audit is going to show. Georgia has been in pushing to in the election integrity. I think that there's a lot of gaps that they haven't filled yet to really put some teeth into election integrity. So there's more to be done there in Georgia. But it's not just that state, but there's, we say Arizona, Michigan, but a lot of Democrat run, so that might be an issue to get in election integrity to the forefront. Pennsylvania, as I mentioned, Texas has also been doing some things to for election integrity. So we're seeing more and more states that are actually making certain that this type of election doesn't happen again, where there's a big question mark on these ballots. Where did they come from, and who actually voted in the election? So again, the Supreme Court weighed in. Arizona's anti-ballot harvesting bill is legal. So that is good news. President Trump also, turning back to President Trump, he had announced this past Wednesday that he's filing a lawsuit against Twitter, Facebook, and Google for what they've been doing to silence him and to take him off off these platforms. And he's fighting back against these so-called platforms. But I think the evidence is really becoming clear that they're editors, they're publishers, and they should be under that Section 230 protections should be removed, and not just the president, but ordinary people, when they get discriminated against, when they get silenced, that they have recourse against these big tech companies that think that they can get away with silencing any speech that they deem to be unacceptable to them, and they don't and though that speech doesn't match up with their so-called experts, and whoever deems he's an expert or she's an expert, and we know that this doctor over here has been in the profession for decades upon decades, but no, he's not saying what we want to hear, so he isn't our expert, and we'll silence him if he says anything. And that's what's been taking place, is reputable doctors with large practices that have come and brought conclusions to over the COVID and what was taking place in their practices. If it didn't line up with the mask wearing, take the vaccine, no therapeutics are available, no prophylactics are available, if they deviated from that and said there are other alternatives besides the vaccine, they were silenced, and they couldn't be heard from. So hopefully at this point President Trump will be successful, and Congress will step in and finally, once and for all, remove that Section 230 and communications and take those protections away from the big tech. So we'll see how that plays out in the coming weeks. I'd like to have us take a look at, once again, we've heard a lot over this past week, the Independence Day celebration over the weekend, and people gathering together, hot dogs and hamburgers, and just a festive time and a celebratory time. Well, there's others on the left that didn't see it that way, and they were discouraging and calling out, America, and, why are people celebrating? Why are people putting the American flag up? Because that's a symbol of as we've found out this week, supposedly Black Lives Matter says that the American flag is a symbol of hate. Yeah, that's the Black Lives Matter, symbol of hate, and those that fly that flag are suspect in their eyes, and there's a cloud over anybody that would put an American flag up in their on their property. So that's what we get from the hate crowd, the hate group in Black Lives Matter. But I'd like to have us take a listen here. We've heard Tucker Carlson before, and he's going to talk a bit about the social justice and critical race theory, and especially what we heard from that crowd that support this this stuff, and how they've been attacking America on and on and on, and obviously trying to teach our kids this crap. And Tucker has a lot to say about that, and I'd like us to take a listen here regarding what's been taking place, especially over the 4th of July weekend, and what we've been hearing over this past week. So here, take a watch here with Tucker Carlson talking a bit about critical race and social justice.